The Secret of the Clockmaker. Leo lived in a noisy city where everyone was always in a hurry. He worked as a manager in a large company. His life was a fast race from morning until late at night. He drank too much coffee and slept very little. He believed that resting was a waste of time. He always checked his phone for new messages. One day, his favorite watch suddenly stopped working. It was a special gift from his grandfather. Leo felt very upset and needed to fix it immediately. He searched the streets and found a small, dusty shop at the corner. The wooden sign said it was a traditional clock repair store. He pushed the heavy door and walked inside quickly. The shop was quiet and smelled of old wood and oil. Hundreds of clocks covered the walls and filled the shelves. They were ticking softly in perfect harmony. An old man with silver hair sat behind a wooden desk. He wore thick glasses and held a tiny tool in his hand. He did not look up when Leo entered. Leo coughed loudly to get attention from the old man. He put the broken watch on the desk and demanded a fast repair. He explained that he was a very busy person. The clockmaker slowly put down his tool and took the watch. He examined it carefully for a long time without saying a single word to Leo. Finally, the old man looked up and smiled gently. He told Leo that the watch was a beautiful machine. However, he said it would take exactly 1 month to fix it completely. Leo was shocked and angry at this long delay. He asked why a simple repair required so much time. He offered to pay double for faster work. The clockmaker refused the extra money with a calm voice. He explained that some things cannot be rushed by money. The watch needed a new part that he had to make by hand. He had to shape the metal perfectly to match the old mechanism. Leo sighed loudly, but agreed to leave his precious item there. For the first week, Leo felt very uncomfortable without his watch. He constantly looked at his empty wrist to check the time. He felt like he was losing control of his busy schedule. He decided to visit the shop to check the progress. He hoped the old man had finished the work earlier than promised. When he arrived, the clockmaker was looking through a magnifying glass. He was slowly cleaning a tiny golden wheel. Leo stood there and watched the man work with incredible focus. The shop was so quiet that Leo could hear his own breathing. He forgot to ask his angry questions and just observed the peaceful scene. Leo started visiting the shop every week during his lunch break. He did not complain about the time anymore. He realized that watching the old man was very relaxing. The clockmaker treated every tiny piece of metal with deep respect. He never looked at his phone or worried about the world outside his dusty window. One afternoon, Leo asked the man how he could be so patient. The clockmaker smiled and wiped his hands on a cloth. He explained that clocks measure time, but they do not create it. He said that modern people are slaves to their schedules. They run fast, but they often miss the beautiful details along the way. The old man picked up a tiny gear and showed it to Leo. He said that perfection cannot happen in a hurry. Every part needs exactly the right amount of attention to function properly. If you rush the process, the machine will eventually break again. Leo thought about his own stressful life and his recent health problems. Leo realized that he was treating his body like a cheap machine. He forced himself to work fast without resting or enjoying the process. The clockmaker taught him that quality requires patience and deep focus. Leo walked out of the shop that day with a new perspective. He decided to slow down his pace of life. Exactly 1 month later, Leo returned to the small, quiet shop. The clockmaker gently handed him the watch in a nice wooden box. The glass was shining, and the golden metal looked brand new. Leo listened closely and heard a strong, steady ticking sound. It sounded like a healthy heartbeat returning to a completely sick body. Leo was incredibly amazed by the excellent craftsmanship. He asked the old man how much money he owed for this perfect job. The kind man named a very reasonable price that surprised Leo. Leo tried to pay extra money to show his deep gratitude. The clockmaker shook his head and refused the extra cash once again. He said that doing a good job was its own reward. He wanted the watch to bring joy to Leo for many years. He advised Leo to wear the watch, but not to let it control him. Time is a tool to measure our lives, and not a boss to chase us. Leo nodded in agreement. Leo put the classic watch on his wrist and felt a strange calm. He looked at the second hand moving steadily around the beautiful dial. It was not rushing and it was not delaying. It moved with perfect intention and gentle grace. Leo thanked the old man warmly and walked out into the busy city streets. The city was exactly the same, but Leo was different. He did not run to catch the subway like he usually did. He walked at a comfortable pace and noticed the blue sky above. He stopped to buy a coffee and actually tasted the rich flavor. He smiled at the barista instead of looking at his phone. At work, Leo applied the wise lesson of the old clockmaker. He stopped multitasking and focused on one single task at a time. He worked carefully and gave his full attention to the details. His stress levels dropped and the quality of his work improved greatly. His manager praised him for his sudden, excellent performance. He realized that time is not an enemy to defeat. It is a quiet river that flows endlessly. We can choose to swim desperately against the strong current, or we can float peacefully with it. The old broken watch was a blessing in disguise. It taught him how to truly live instead of just surviving. Whenever Leo feels rushed, he looks at the watch from his grandfather. He listens to the calm ticking and takes a deep breath. He remembers the dusty shop and the silver hair of the master. He smiles and slows his steps down. True happiness grows slowly and requires all the patience we can possibly give it.